There is a bird outside and it is so loud. Like, I don't know if it's doing like a mating call or whatever. I don't know who is calling. His mama, his cousin. I don't know, but it is so loud right now. Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl, Jackie from the Financial Literacy Tribe, coming at you with a brand new video. So for today, I wanted to talk about something that has been very interesting to me. I've been researching it for these past couple weeks, ever since I heard about it recently. I don't think that it's a new concept, but it's new to me. So that's why I just wanted to share all of the fun little gems of information that I learned about this. But it is the newest, biggest wave in the personal finance world. And it is this thing called FIRE. Not like, oh my God, my house is on fire. Like, not like that. It is an acronym. FIRE stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And so basically, it is how people nowadays, I don't want to say millennials because it's probably not just millennials, it's probably Gen Xers, everybody, is jumping on this bandwagon of how to effectively retire early. It turns out that it has nothing to do with luck, and it has everything to do with strategy and hard work and the FIRE movement. So let's talk about it. So what is the appeal in the first place with retiring early? Like, what is the big deal? Why is this such a big wave? Why is this such a big fad all of a sudden? I don't know for sure, but I think for me, I just always assumed you had to work for, I don't know, 30, 35, 40, maybe longer years just to be able to accumulate enough funds to be able to retire. I didn't know that this was even a thing that you could do, so I never even thought about it. So the fact that there's so many people, that there's this trend of people who are just like, we're gonna live our lives in a completely different way, and really focus on living as frugally as possible so that we can save as much as possible and be able to retire in our 30s, guys. Some of these people are retiring in their 30s and their 40s. Like, that's crazy young. Like, imagine what you could do if you didn't have to work your current job and you could just do whatever you wanted for the next 40 to 50 years of your life. Like, that sounds good. I used to think that you had to be like super rich or maybe like super lucky and like win the lottery or something just to be able to even think about retiring early. But the FIRE movement has proved that this is not the case. Like, these are regular, everyday Joes, people with regular jobs like you and I, who are out there grinding every single day. And just by using strategy and kind of planning ahead and really, really scaling back on their lifestyle, they've been able to achieve this. So it is doable. I don't think that it's easy by any means, but it certainly is doable. And I think that's the thing that has people the most excited about this. So how does somebody even achieve FIRE in the first place? It can't be that easy. Otherwise, everybody on planet Earth would be doing it, I'm assuming. The very first step that you're going to want to take is you want to identify what is your FIRE number. That is the number that you're going to need to accumulate in the stock market. Your FIRE number is you taking the amount that you or your family, if you have a family, spend on a yearly basis, right? So your annual expenditures, you're going to take that number and you're going to multiply it by 25. So however much you spend on average in an entire year times 25. That is your FIRE number. So just as an example, if I did my budget, and make sure you check out my how to make a budget video if you have not, but let's say that I did my budget and I figured out that on average, I tend to spend about $20,000 for the full year in terms of my expenses, my bills, my rent, food. I spend about $20,000 a year. At that point, I would take $20,000 and multiply that by 25. And that would give me my FIRE number, which is $500,000. I would need $500,000 in order to retire. So obviously, your fire number is going to vary wildly depending on who you are. And the reason is because your cost of living is going to vary wildly depending on who you are. It's dependent on your personal preferences. Are you bougie versus are you like paper bagging it in terms of lunch every single day? What's your personality type? Are you a shopaholic? Do you have a family? Obviously, somebody who has a lot of kids is going to have a much higher fire number than somebody who is single and not married and does not have children. Like the disparity is going to be huge. Where you live in the country is also going to affect this greatly. People who live in like Manhattan, for example, are going to obviously have a much higher cost of living than somebody who's living in like New Mexico or in parts of West Virginia where it's like definitely more affordable. If I was planning early retirement, maybe I would want to live in a place that was much more affordable. So that way I didn't have to save up as much for retirement. If I made the decision and said I was going to move to West Virginia, definitely my number would be lower. So that's something to keep in mind for sure. All right, so you did it. So you figured out your fire number. Now what? How the heck do you even save up that immense, gigantic, gargantuan number in terms of money? How does somebody even save up that much money? It's crazy to even think about it. And let me tell you, sis, I have been watching all of these fire individuals and reading all of these fire posts, and people get pretty creative with it. I mean, the idea is obviously to live off of much, much less than what it is that you make so that you can put the maximum amount that you possibly can toward your retirement fund, right? So we have people who are working multiple jobs and only living off of like a portion of one income. I've seen couples where maybe they're living off of one person's income and investing the full amount of the other person's income. I've seen people, do extreme couponing. I mean, so really you're only limited in terms of your circumstances and your creativity level. You can get as frugal as you want to get if it's going to get you closer to your goals. So that's the good thing about it. I mean, I guess it's hard, like I said, if you're bougie and you have very expensive tastes, then you're going to have a harder time with this. But then again, maybe not, because maybe you make more money. Maybe you have a job or you own a business where you make a substantial amount, then maybe it won't be that tricky. So it just kind of depends, I think, on your circumstances and your life, where you are right now in life. So why 25 times your annual expenditures? Why is that the like magic number? Economists kind of got together and decided that that is the perfect number because at that point in time, you can very comfortably withdraw 4% from your stock market accounts on an annual basis. And hypothetically, you would never run out of money because the market is always going to grow and you're going to be making more in terms of dividends and interest. You're going to be earning more than what it is that you're taking out. So hypothetically, you would never run out of money at that point. Obviously, that is not a rule that's not set in stone because if the market is doing really, really bad and tanking, then so are your assets. So I don't think that that's something that's set in stone. I think definitely if you're considering this, I think you should talk with a financial advisor and they can probably steer you in the right direction in terms of how much it is that you should be withdrawing from year to year, depending on how the market is doing. I've been watching Fire Starters, which is a money watch clips on YouTube. Really good. I highly recommend you watch it. It's very interesting. But I noticed that a lot of the people who have already achieved fire in their lives, they, as you can imagine, this makes perfect sense, their entire livelihood is very much dependent on the whims of the market. So recently, like I know we've been doing really, really good, effective right now. It's August 2020. We've been doing good. But recently, when we hit that little dip and the stock market started to go in the southern direction, one of the families that I was watching on Money Watch's Fire Starters, they were saying that they lost like 250,000. 250,000 they lost during that dip that we went through recently. So that's an intense number. I probably would have like vomited, fainted. I don't know what I would have done. That's intense, man. That's stressful. So obviously, like I said, your entire livelihood is very much tied to the whims of the market. So when things are great, you're probably feeling great. You're probably feeling like, yeah, living my best life. Do 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 do. And then as soon as the market starts to drop, and you see those stock prices starting to drop, and you see your numbers starting to shrink, it's probably not such a great feeling. So that's probably one of the more stressful parts of it. Just to kind of offset that, I have seen a lot of fire starters say that even though technically they are retired, maybe they have like a side hustle or they have like a part-time job or something that they keep, just to be able to have a very large amount of cash on hand so that they don't necessarily have to dip into their dividends. They don't have to dip into their stock market accounts, to be able to pay their bills if they don't want to. But secondly, because when things do go bad and go sour and stock prices start to tank on you, at least then you have another option. You have a different source of income where you can kind of make sure that your bills are getting paid, your kids are eating, there's a roof over your head. You have an alternate option. So I thought that was really smart. So guys, that is going to do it for me today. I thought it was a fascinating topic. I cannot wait to learn more about it. Obviously, as soon as I learn more about it, I would love to share that with you. I don't know. It just fascinates me. The idea of just being able to retire in your 30s or 40s and just live the rest of your life doing literally whatever it is that you want. It's just really appealing. So comment in the comment section. I would love to know, like, what would you do if you had all of that spare time? Like, if you could retire early and like not worry about paying your bills and not worrying about going to work and dealing with your job and dealing with your boss who you hate. If you did not have to work, what would you do with all of your spare time? I would love to hear it. So comment below in the comment section. What would I do if I was like retired, young, and didn't have to get up early and go to work every day? What would I do? One can only dream. One can only dream.